For more reaction, we speak now to Tessa Dooms, an independent political analyst. Tessa, the party has been speaking repeatedly about renewal today, but not so many changes on the cards. John Steeinhuisen was the interim party leader. He just stays on. Helen Zille is still the chairperson of the Federal Council. Do you see a lot of change ahead, despite old players staying in their roles?
Well, I think change is a very relative thing in the DA at the moment. If we think about the DA in the last 2 to 3 years versus the DA in the last 20 years, I think John Steeinhuisen is signaling change, but change from their recent past and perhaps a change towards the DA of Tony Leon and the early years of Helen Zille, where the party was, in fact, rooted in a particular kind of constituency, rooted in a particular kind of politics, and a rejection of the politics that came in the face of Mmusi Maimane.
They claim to have a very liberal set of values, espousing support for LGBTI communities, yet on the other hand they're against broad-based black economic empowerment. How do their values speak to young South Africans?
Well, I think the DA's values are interesting in the sense that they're having to balance out the kind of individual first approach, and one where they say that an individual first approach says you don't see race, and you don't see race as part of this collective identity, yet they understand marginal identities like the LGBTQI community. And I think that that is something that the DA needs to grapple with, that marginalization of communities and systemic discrimination like racism is no different from sexual orientation. And perhaps the only difference that the DA is relying on there is that when it comes to race, they see the clear connection between race and the economy and the ways in which racial injustice impacts on the economy, and may not make that clear connection when it comes to something like the issues facing the LGBTIQ community. And so I think when you are a party that says that you believe that people have the right to self-determine, that people have the right to see themselves through their own eyes, that people who see and identify themselves through the categories of blackness deserve to be heard, deserve to be seen, and deserve the right to self-determine as black South Africans. And that's the kind of politics I think they're missing when they deny race.
John Steeinhuisen has said they want to topple the ANC government. They are heading to the polls with the eye on the prize. They want to govern South Africa. In the past, they've been accused of seeming content with governing just the Western Cape. What do you see in their future?
Well, I think there's certainly been a change in the DA's rhetoric around coalitions. And perhaps they could also say that that is a function of Mmusi Maimane's leadership that was very strong on coalition politics. But even Helen Zille was strong on that. And I think today John was very emphatic about the fact that they don't see the future being coalition politics anymore, which I think raises a lot of eyebrows in terms of what route they think they will be taking to toppling the ANC, and whether they can see in the country constituents who are willing to, in a very dramatic turn of events, move from the ANC and other political parties into their camp. I think that it's a miscalculation to assume that they will not need coalitions in order to govern any other parts of South Africa, and we'll see how that plays out and how smaller parties respond.
Thank you very much for your analysis, Tessa Dooms.